Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Pause Menu. We are back with our all-star panel of Tony, Jason, and Brian, your first time on the newly formatted Pause Menu.
Okay.
Welcome
cool.
back.
Thank you.
Welcome back your first time. Welcome back on your inaugural episode.
So this week we are going to talk about Sony's video game console, the PlayStation 4. In particular, we're going to talk about it in 2014, or the holiday, and beyond. So Sony has they've been on top for about the last 8, 9, 10 months since it launched.
9 months in a row.
9 months in a row as the #1 selling console. And why? When you look back at the games the last few months, what stands out from Sony? What do you guys think? Sorry, Brian. What do you think has done it for Sony that's made them the?
I think the thing that first did it for Sony early on was the Xbox rumors and the Xbox issues, and that kind of put them ahead of the game. People had already pre-ordered the PS4, and I think they just kind of stuck with it. I think the Kinect was a non-seller and pushed people to the PS4. I think that was the biggest push for the PS4 was Microsoft's fumbling, believe it or not. I think people wanted a new console, and the fact that Microsoft dropped the ball, just Sony was able to pick up and run with it. I think that's what really did it. Because I like my PS4. I was just saying to these guys, I hadn't turned it on in like 4 months.
Okay.
Granted, I've been busy with work, but there's also nothing to really draw me to it.
I think it was a combination of what Brian's saying, and the other major factor was, of course, the price point. It was $100 cheaper than the Xbox. Specifically in North America, it was Microsoft's territory to lose. I mean, you could argue it from a different side that, we sold more units, but the staying power wasn't quite there. So I think it's fair to say Microsoft kind of dominated North America last generation. And it was theirs to give away, and they gave it away. I think I agree with him a lot that it was more them fumbling and upsetting gamers, and gamers voting with their wallets for what they wanted instead of maybe buying what they could have used more. Because I have both consoles, and thus far, I think Xbox One actually has the superior library. I don't think that's going to be true for very much longer now that Sony's owned studios are going to start releasing their games. But for right now, like less than a year in, I think Microsoft has a better library.
I also think that Sony has done a great job with their marketing. I think the most commercials I've ever seen come out of Sony, with exception of like the PS1 era where Crash Bandicoot was making fun of Nintendo, has been this past year with showcasing not specific games, but the system in pretty innovative commercials and pretty entertaining commercials. The little musical one and things like that. I think they've done a really good job with making the general population aware that there's a new system out there.
I do think that the as you said, Microsoft fumbling had a lot to do with the pre-release of the system, like the hype towards the PS4, and then the initial launch, maybe the first window of 2-3 months. But like, if you're it's been winning every week, PS4. I really don't know anybody who's bought a PS4 in the summertime. It makes me think, what are they getting? Because before, let's look at the this week, before Destiny. What was the last big game?
Last of Us Remastered.
And Infamous was before that. Like, what was before
Infamous was March.
Yeah, but Last of Us was what, like July?
Last of Us?
Yeah, it was July, right?
Yeah, I think
June
so.
Or July?
Late June or no, late July.
I picked it up and I had
It was extremely late July. It was like a day before August, I remember.
Yeah.
But nobody was picking up the console to buy The Last of Us.
What's sold the Xbox besides Titanfall? Has there been anything else?
Forza did pretty well.
Okay,
the launch.
So the good launch. So
Dead
better launch.
Rising was...
So better launch.
Yeah.
Okay. Because my opinion has been so far that neither one is really...
But now, in the last 2-3 months or so, Microsoft has equaled the playing field with the price point. They're now the same price. In fact, some of the Microsoft bundles have been better.
I think you need to give them a few months before those numbers kick in because the public doesn't know that. Like, people will learn that, but not like the gamers will know right away because they read the gaming sites. But the public at large, or people who are just kind of into gaming, they're going to realize that when they go in to buy Call of Duty or Madden.
Well, actually, the predicted numbers, I mean, we don't have precise numbers from either Sony or Microsoft with this last month, but this last month, I'm talking about August, last full month was the only full month that Microsoft had the price reduction after the Connectless Xbox. And it was supposed to be its best month since launch. And it was the closest to the PS4, but the PS4 still nudged it out. So it is getting better, and more people are coming around now that the Connect, that you have the option that you should have had in the beginning, which is to acquire it either way you want it.
Do you think that the belief that the PS4 is more powerful than the Xbox is also helping sell it?
I still see that come up quite a bit.
I mean, it is technically, from a technical standpoint, it is,
Yeah.
but it's not significantly more powerful.
Yeah. I think a big thing was with Destiny also. Just all the ad campaigns for Destiny, which is arguably one of the biggest games this year, all end with the PlayStation logo. There's no branding for Microsoft whatsoever on it.
That's because Sony actually they bought the marketing. In fact, did you get the fragrance, the Destiny fragrance?
Yeah.
Did you hear about that?
No.
Yeah, Microsoft released a Destiny cologne, but it wasn't real. It was like an ad campaign. That was their ad campaign for Destiny.
Because they couldn't mention the game.
Yeah, and then it got shut down. Like they had to cancel it, and it just said visit your local retailers. But yeah, they Sony bought the exclusivity of the marketing, and I think they are getting some of the DLC.
Oh yeah, it's got
They're getting it way ahead of time.
It's become like a pseudo exclusive to an extent.
I suppose. I mean, they're kind of doing a reverse Call of Duty because Call of Duty on the Xbox always got the content first, even though it eventually came out, and they always advertised it for the Xbox. I don't think you ever saw.
Yeah, but Sony had their own repertoire to compete with that. Nothing's as big as Call of Duty, but they've locked up Assassin's Creed for the last handful of years.
Batman.
Yeah, they had the Batman. They also had Battlefield going for a while because that was like a default partnership because Battlefield's trying to compete with Call of Duty and Sony's trying to compete with Microsoft, and they teamed up. So they're like, let's just team up. So and it just worked out well. But nothing's as big as Call of Duty, but they've had their own to compete with it.
Right.
At least last gen, I think. Call of Duty has
tapered off.
Yeah, we'll see what effect that has in 2014 with the new one.
Yeah, because Madden got killed, which is usually pretty steady.
It's no longer a big event, Madden Day.
Yeah.
No.
So Destiny did release this past week. Bungie announced, or Activision said it pulled $500 million on day one. So it's clearly like the first big
new IP.
Yeah.
That's not the highest ever though, right? I didn't Halo 3 get like $1 billion in a day or something like that?
It's the highest ever for a
new IP.
Yeah.
For a new IP.
Because GTA 5 I think did $1 billion in a day or two.
Yeah.
But that was
hours,
that was GTA 5. Right. So
okay.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that now did any of you guys pick up Destiny?
I did.
Did you pick it up on PlayStation 4?
No.
Okay, so you are in the minority. I mean,
I'm in the minority of the population, but as far as my friends are concerned, they're all on. I'd say it's like 75% of them are playing Destiny on Xbox One.
Okay, all right.
Not everybody has.
Yeah,
both,
that isn't the majority opinion. In fact, one of the reasons for its PlayStation success, and I think the PS4 in general, is it's sort of reversed what happened with the Xbox 360, where a game's coming out on two consoles and people are like, "Oh, I'll get it on the PS4." Oh, why? Because all my friends are playing it. Like, do you guys think that has Sony like won that mindset already for this cycle?
It's not unachievable for Microsoft to come back. Sony dominated during the PS1 and the PS2 era. It was, where are you getting it? You're getting it on PlayStation, unless it's an exclusive somewhere else. They made the mistake. There's this kind of weird urban legend around the console manufacturers that they all screw up on their third generation. We saw it with Sega, and we saw it with Sony now, and Microsoft's third console didn't do so hot. And what was Nintendo's? Was that the
64 or the Virtual Boy?
Yeah. So I mean, there's this thing that they get a little cocky and they end up screwing up their third console really bad. And PlayStation, it was theirs to lose, and they lost it with the PS3. But after it was a weird generation because it went on so long. I'd say like the first 5 years easily belonged to Microsoft. And then like the last 2 or 3, Sony not only caught up but surpassed them in almost every way, shape, and form, except for actual online play with PSN versus Xbox Live. That was the only thing that they were still lacking. But PlayStation Plus became a better value. They actually surpassed them in sales. It's still ridiculously close. You're talking like 1 million or 2 over the course of 8.5 years. But Sony also released the PS3 a full year after, so it's quite impressive that they caught up in the first place. So Microsoft's not out of the game, and they're taking a lot of the correct steps by starting to bundle stuff in, showing people value, getting people to bite in their console.
The Halo collection, I mean, just putting that, they're taking a page out of Sony's book by putting together a collection of ideally their biggest game that they have.
They're eating some of that humble pie. The games with gold programs getting an awful lot better because it has to compete with PlayStation. That's one of the reasons I hate when people gang up on one company or another. Yeah. It's like, don't you understand? Competition raises everyone. You know, when somebody does something cool, it makes the other one give them a better deal, and they keep. I don't know.
Well, you think? I mean, you mentioned the late PS3 era. It sort of caught up. Really.
It found its groove. Yeah,
I think that also helps with the PS4. Sorry, I don't think you again.
But let me ask you: even in the late PS3 era, when there was a multi-platform game, what console were you getting it for? I mean, PS3 had a crap ton of quality first-party games. Well, sort of Microsoft really faded away.
They stopped. They were relying heavily on third-party. I tended, because I had both like I do now, I tended to get most third-party stuff on Xbox because of the Xbox Live experience. And I didn't feel like I was neglecting my PS3 because there were so many great exclusives that every couple months I was picking something up on PS3 anyway. So the thing was constantly on between PlayStation Plus. It was just, they were both getting a lot of use. And I guess it was in my head, like if I didn't get it for Xbox, then I really wouldn't be using that system at all.
But has that trend reversed? Like Brian, do you have an Xbox One?
I don't.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Okay. Okay, so this probably won't work. But I know, Jason, you're a big. You lean more towards the Xbox side of things slightly.
To a degree, yeah.
Are you at the point where any third-party single-player game, would you still get it on the Xbox One?
The only reason that I would probably continue to get it on the Xbox One is because I have a decent achievement score. And I'd want to continue to build that. I mean, that's what would sway me. Like we were talking earlier about Shadows of Mordor. I'd probably get it for Xbox One just to continue to, I mean, I spent so much time building that up. And then it's easier for me to kind of swap games. Like Tony's going to pick up Forza Horizon. And I'm going to give him Shadows of Mordor. He's going to give me, so I mean, it's just easier.
So you're doing the Sony trade.
Yeah, yeah. So
here's how you borrow a game.
Another reason is this interesting little thing that I found out about, and I don't know if it's necessarily an exploit or anything. Angry Andy bought Destiny launch night, played it here at my house, installed all the DLC stuff, and then when I got my copy on Friday, it unlocked all his DLC stuff for me.
Cool.
So I don't have to buy a season pass. I upgraded my Minecraft, which just came out last week on Xbox One, and he was able to download it because we share our accounts on each other's systems. So there's that's a big appeal to me because now I don't have to necessarily buy every game. As long as his account is active and it's on my system, I get the stuff that he buys and he gets the stuff that I buy, which is kind of like what PlayStation 3 used to do. So that's one appeal to keep me playing on my Xbox One right now. Is I'm cheapskate.
I'm more on a game-by-game basis, whether I'm going to buy it on one or the other. Of course, the exclusives, I'm kind of locked into wherever it may lay, but with third party, I'm going to go either way. Like I know, for instance, Wolfenstein, I had picked up on the PS4 because I had less games for the PS4. and I only had Killzone at the time. And I was like, I need another game. Well, on Xbox, I had like Forza and Dead Rising and Rise and stuff like that. And I was just like, I want to play the PS4 a little bit more. As we get further in the generation, I have no idea which way I'm going to lean. Probably just take it game by game.
So it sounds like, in general, maybe not this panel, but the consensus online at least has been people are playing on PS4 or buying on PS4 because that's the system of their friends. I don't know if that will sustain itself, but and then
I mean, I could see that happening with because again, Tony and I are a unique situation this early in the generation where we have both. Obviously, I have a certain set of friends that went PlayStation 4 and a certain set that went Xbox One. It just happens to be that the ones currently on Xbox One are the ones that I would play like my Call of Duties or my Halos with. So I went with them. Now, does that mean that they won't necessarily transition over to PlayStation 4 as the generation continues? I could see a complete shift where 90% of my friends are on PS4. It's just a little early because not everybody has both yet.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you guys think that, so despite there being a fairly quiet software releases for the PS4, nothing really big before Destiny,
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this momentum that they've built for the last 10 months, do you think this is sustainable at least through, say, the end of 2014?
I think it'll be we'll know right around Call of Duty and Halo time to see where everybody decides to pick. If Call of Duty sustains its momentum and see how well, even though it's not a new Halo, it's the first time they're collecting them together, see how well those do. What else does, other than the exclusivity that it had with the DLC and extra content for Destiny, what else does Sony have coming this fall?
That's what are you guys, are like, Brian, is there anything on the PS4 you're looking to pick up?
There's one game I'm getting in November, Dragon Age Inquisition, which is multi-platform. But I'm getting it for PS4 because I have a PS4.
Good choice.
I think I prefer the PS4 controller to the Xbox One controller. I know you guys might feel differently.
That's just crazy.
I like
the PS4 controller is an insane improvement, and it's a very good controller.
And
I have no problem with either of them. I enjoy them equally.
And I preferred Sony's UI for the last couple of consoles. One of the reasons and I don't think this had any effect on anyone but me and maybe a couple other people. One of the reasons I didn't go for the Xbox One if I had bought both, because I could have, was that I really hate the way they put so much advertising into it. I think it makes it a less fun experience, personally. But other than that, there's nothing on either console that I'm looking forward to right now, to be honest.
Is there anything, Tony, for you that you're going to be picking up on the PS4 for sure?
Not till next year. The next game there's tons of smaller $10 and $15 games that I'm looking very forward to in the PlayStation ecosystem, but I'm pretty sure we're concentrating on AAA here, and I'm not buying anything for the PlayStation 4 in that sense until the order comes out, and that's 2-3
Nothing
months.
in 2014.
Yeah.
All the games I want are coming out on Xbox, or they're multi-platform, and I don't know where I'm getting them yet.
In terms of exclusives, maybe you guys can help me out, but after Little Big Planet 3...
I forgot about that.
that seems like that in of itself doesn't really scream AAA.
Mm.
It's one of their biggest brands, but that really is their biggest game that is not coming on the other system that at least I can think of off the top of my head.
Bloodborne?
I don't think
That's next year.
That's this year.
That's
The orders.
No, next year's going to be insane.
Yeah.
Next year's going to be Uncharted and Bloodborne, and you got Drive Club coming out this year. That's very late, though. I think it's December.
Yeah, which they're trying to push as a social driving experience.
That's
That's a PlayStation only game.
And maybe No Man's Sky will make it this year.
I don't think that's a true exclusive. I think that's one of those things that was like how Contrast was an exclusive when the PS4 launched, and then came out 6 months later for the Xbox One. But much like the Tomb Raider situation is happening right now, but everybody's ganging up on Microsoft for doing what Sony did 8 months ago. I don't know.
Yeah. I think Tomb Raider is a much bigger property.
And it's never really been a Microsoft.
It's never been a Microsoft game.
But I can't really, other than Little Big Planet, I can't really think of anything. And then in the Microsoft camp, you've got Forza Horizon 2, which is okay. It's not,
No, it's a big game.
It's a big game.
Yeah. Then you've got Halo,
which is going to be big.
Yeah, and then is that
They have
I feel like
Sunset-
I'm missing
And
one.
Sunset Overdrive.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Based on my experience at E3, that was the game of E3.
Yeah.
I mean, they had like the even the lanyard said it.
Mhm.
There's a big balloon in the middle of the hall that was talking.
Interestingly enough, even though they just changed the release date on Batman, right now all the advertising is through Sony
for Batman.
for Batman.
But that again, Batman is
2015.
July of next year.
June now.
I
June 2nd.
think Microsoft has the stronger holiday release because there's a ton of great third-party games that are coming out both places. But if you line up Drive Club and Little Big Planet, there's Sunset Overdrive, Halo Collection, and Forza.
and I think it's worth mentioning that Call of Duty still has the pseudo exclusive.
Yeah, Day Zero is what they're calling it now.
Where I mean, Call of Duty is not. It's not a Microsoft only game, but I mean that game will sell better on Xbox One for sure because that audience is there. Pre-order numbers indicate that.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you think the momentum Sony has had since launch, clashing against what most people would consider the superior lineup of the Xbox One, like? What do you think we're going to see in November and December? Who's going to win the holiday season?
I think Microsoft's going to close the gap significantly because if I was, they did everything wrong initially. They really did, and I got one anyway because I have faith in Microsoft that they would have righted the ship. And since Phil Spencer took the helm a few months back, he couldn't be doing anything more right. At the last two big conferences, he's doing nothing but showing games. He took away the Kinect. He's bundling in all these products. He's like, I can't imagine him doing a better job. They're giving away better games of gold. Like everything that people were complaining about, he's correcting, and he's only been at the helm for a few months. He can't go much quicker.
Took down the paywall.
Yeah.
So you said you think Microsoft will close the gap. Do you guys think that
they won't pass them? No way. There's too big of a gap.
By closing the gap, that implies that you think the Xbox One will sell better than the PS4 in
the holidays, probably
November. Do you guys think so?
I think it's entirely possible.
Just with their exclusives, because there's gonna. I mean, we should start like any day now. Start seeing the advertising for Halo roll out. Because I mean, we're going into the third week of September now.
I don't even know if it's just that. Like I'm just looking at it like the people that usually pay the extremes for consoles because they're still at full price. Most people wait for price cuts, and it's been long enough where most of those people that bought the PS4 have probably amassed enough where now maybe they're ready to bite on the Xbox as well. Because a lot of people do double console. Not everyone.
The hardcore, core of the core.
Yeah, they double console. And I just think that now's around that time where people are over that 400 they blew 10 months ago on the PS4 to now blow 400 on the Xbox. It's not like back-to-back. And I don't think the ton of people are going to be jumping in until these things see at least a little bit of a price cut. I know the PS3 didn't take off till that dropped in half. From 600 to 300 is when it really took off.
Well, and the PS3 and the 360 are still fairly expensive. I mean, they haven't dropped below 200 yet, have they? Neither one.
Base price, I believe, is 200 for both.
Yeah.
I think because I know that there's a bunch of Xbox bundles that are 250.
Yeah, it's still.
No, they're both
still hanging out at 199.
Yeah. I mean, the PlayStation 2 was down to like $100 a couple years after.
As recently, I mean, that's the lowest that dropped. It was 99.
Yeah.
Now, the PS4, looking at price cuts in bundles in general, there is the Destiny bundle. What is that retailing at? Is it $449?
I believe so.
$449 or $450? You don't get much of a
it's
discount.
about $10, and then they give you a 14-day free trial of PlayStation.
Plus, you're getting the game digitally. I don't think you're actually getting the copy, so you have to download it.
Or is it preloaded to the hard drive, or is it downloaded?
So do you think...
and it's white, and it's pretty. I've seen it.
Do you guys all agree that the PlayStation 4 will be $400 through the end of the year?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's no reason to cut
I don't think
either
either
one.
one's dropping. I mean, the Xbox dropped, but they also cut what was included in the package.
But they've also, like, the difference between the bundles has been there's a surplus you're paying for the PS4 bundles where... is Xbox One have any current $399 bundles?
Yes.
With Forza?
Yeah, Forza or one other game that's been
Actually,
out forever.
the promotion right now that they have is where you buy
and Destiny. They give you Destiny and Forza with the console.
You get Forza free, and then you get to pick any game of your choice for free. So Diablo, Destiny, Dead Rising, anything.
That's like a new one.
That just
And
this
base
past
price?
week, base price,
$400.
$3.99. You get Forza, and then you get one game of your choice
So
for free.
one could argue that currently the Xbox One is the significantly cheaper system because you're talking just Forza. Maybe it's not a $60 value right now.
It's $50.
Well, it's an Xbox title, so it's a Microsoft title, so it's like doesn't.
Yeah, but if you do get that extra,
But they're getting that extra game, and that is a value.
Do you think PlayStation 4 will they have a bundle that's cheaper than where you get a free game basically?
They should, because to be competitive, they probably should because they have to be looking at their lineup and saying we don't have anything.
I'd go back and I'd take a title like maybe like Killzone and throw that into the base and throw Killzone in for free now.
Yeah.
Do you think does that game still have appeal right now?
I mean, it does. You get a free game.
It's free,
That's
yeah.
more.
It's like Forza having appeal. Forza has its fans, but
exactly.
it's a racing game. So any genre you pick, you're limiting who's going to
want
it.
It was a launch title.
Yeah.
But you throw in a free game. It's a free game either way that you cut it. It's a full retail game. That's more. I'd be more inclined. I don't. Even if I'm not a Killzone fan, I'm like, hey, it's a free game. I'll play it.
Yeah.
How about do you think they'll do a Big Planet $400 bundle?
Not 400, maybe 450.
Maybe next winter. Not this winter.
I think for launch they'll do.
Okay.
They'll do like Destiny where they have it, but you pay. Maybe save $10, but you don't get the full.
Yeah.
No, not free game.
Not even a Black Friday.
I don't think Sony has to.
Maybe, but it wouldn't be through Sony. It'll be like Walmart trying to bring people into the store or something like that. I don't think Sony's going to offer that.
I don't think Sony has to give away an arm and a leg to get people to buy the PS4. It's one of the hottest demanded things. Whereas Microsoft has to try a little bit harder to get rid of their consoles.
You can have it after class.
Well, going back to what we were saying earlier, you're of the belief that Microsoft's going to close the gap. I mean, if you're a Sony executive right now, you're thinking, what do we have to do to assure Microsoft does not close the gap? And like doing some out-of-the-box thinking, what do you think Sony will do other than just ride its
putting
momentum?
a little slime on the PlayStation 4.
Well, they have the white one now.
The white one, and then there's the silver one with the little slime guy on it.
They could
kind of weird.
They could do a PlayStation Now promotion. That could be their big thing.
They could give away a year of Plus, which would cost them nothing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it would cost them.
No, it costs them.
Well, but
right.
Generally speaking,
I mean that would be something, and I think that would be they have to do something because if they don't, Microsoft will close the gap. No, it's Sony's game to lose now. Their positions are kind of reversed, but at the same time, they're Sony and they may be foolish and not just like every company when they're doing well, they get dumb.
Yeah.
Even if it's just for 6 months. Nintendo does the same thing. A bunch of Wii sell. Like, we got the Wii, man. Forget it. Mm-hmm. Dropping balls left to right doesn't matter. We got the Wii.
Yeah. How about so now let's extend our views or like the time and the distance. Now after I'm of the belief that they will ride out the holiday season with bundles. I think we might even see that elusive PS4 Vita bundle.
I think that would be a grand idea.
What they should have did.
Didn't they say they're talking about doing something in Europe or something?
Europe's getting it.
Maybe we'll see that, but I think there will not be a price cut. I think there's going to be a big bundle. Mm-hmm. Maybe a Killzone Infamous combined bundle for $400. Maybe something like that. Yeah, and
Infamous is another game they could give away for free.
And I do think the Little Big Planet. I think there will be a Little Big Planet bundle for $400. That's just me. It's a first party game. They can afford to take the hit on it. But it's
so close to the holiday. That's my only thing. If it came out like 3 months ago. Then I could see that, but it's not out yet, right?
I could see like what you were saying, those Infamous Killzone and like an extra DualShock for like $450 or something. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they're going to give you 2 free games for the price of just the system, though. I don't know.
It's a little early for them to do that, I think.
I don't know. You might be right.
I've seen those bundles, exactly what you're describing.
Mm-hmm.
Xbox 360 did it every year, where they give you 2 free games
Sony
for the cost of the console.
But they were always older games. They weren't brand new games.
Yeah, and I mean, considering that there's I feel it's a little too soon. Maybe next spring we'll see that bundle.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of people that there's so much hype around the PS4. They want to get it, and I think come November, come Black Friday, come the holiday season when they're for gifts purposes, those bundles will keep Sony ahead. But then 2015, what we were talking about, there's a lot of third-party games got moved to the early part, but
all of them. Everyone.
But that's not surprising. It's a new generation. I mean, they're
the same thing happened like 2 years ago too, where the whole fall lineup.
Yeah, there's also that new trend where I feel that they're announcing games way too early. But
well, they are. They're trying to build the hype. You can't maintain the hype train that long unless it's like.
I don't know if it's for the hype train. I think it's more to shut up investors at meetings, and that stuff leaks out then. That they're like, hey, we're working on this game. Don't sell all our stock so we can maintain a business.
Sell all of it.
Yeah,
most.
But now in 2015, and even maybe late 2015, even 2016, sooner or later, Sony's going to release some first-party content.
the stuff is coming.
Yeah,
The storm cometh, as the kids say.
Well, they've got Uncharted.
Yes, and that's all that matters. It's over.
Game of the year.
Game of the year every
is
year.
big, but its numbers don't stack up to like Halo, though, right? I mean, it's big, but it's not Halo big.
I think this will be the best-selling.
It'll be the best-selling PS4 game, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Uncharted. Yeah.
But I don't know. I think Uncharted 3 was like a little over 10 million.
Okay, so the numbers were still very, very
But that
good.
was like the best one.
Yeah.
Bundled though for a long period of time.
I think
can
that
still get
this
that
is the last holiday season where Sony can coast. I think they started off strong. They can coast through this one and maintain the momentum through this one just through word of mouth and popularity because they're currently on top. But come 2015, if they don't start putting out more games and better games, people will lose interest.
I think Microsoft's in for a really killer 6 or 8 week period when you get that Halo and Sunset Overdrive. A lot of people like that I see on the internet and stuff, they're waiting for those, one or the other.
Yeah.
And when they're both coming so close, it's not even like, well, I'm just buying this system for Halo. I really wanted to play Sunset too, so I got like 2 months
And they'll
launching.
probably get
Within
Call
a
of
couple
Duty.
weeks of it. Yeah. And then it's like, might as well grab the new game with that. And I think they're like, you can't close that gap. I think Microsoft's sitting somewhere around 6 million and Sony's somewhere around 11 million. And that's like 2/3.
But it's the holiday season and crazy sales happen. Crazy numbers happen. I think it's entirely possible. I don't want to say it will happen because I think it's.
Dude, Microsoft is not going to do half of what Sony did in over a year in 4 weeks. It's not going to happen.
Do something crazy. They could put out. They could say, come November, Xbox One is $300 for a limited time, and swoop in and steal the show. And Microsoft has the money to do something crazy like that. I'm not saying they're going to do it, but if they really want,
crazy.
That's just crazy talk.
they could. They
crazy. No,
because they're currently not selling at a loss, right? They're like evening out.
That's the thing. Everybody thinks Xbox is doing so bad. It's the second fastest selling console ever. It's only losing to the PS4, and it's making it look really bad.
But that mind share is important.
Like through the first 8 months. Like I think that was true in the first 4 months. The numbers that.
So maybe it's fallen off a smidge. Maybe it's the third. What would have beaten it?
The Wii is higher.
Okay, so third fastest selling console of all time. Is that okay?
What about home console? What about portables? Portables don't start off well though. They always falter at the beginning.
Portables.
Yeah, I mean, because like the Game Boy Advance is like the highest selling ever, right? Or the DS is like the highest selling ever.
Yes.
But that didn't.
But it took a long time. Yeah, the curve is like
to get started.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last question.
Yes.
When we have this conversation 1 year from now, where do you think the PS4 will be relative to its competitors?
Ahead, but not smashing it like it currently is.
If they present a decent fall lineup, I will agree with Tony that they'll still be ahead.
Fall?
Yeah.
Okay.
They, in my opinion, have a tendency to release their stuff early in the year and not be strong towards the end of the year. You know, you see like the God of Wars and even like Last of Us Remastered came out in July when they could have easily held that until October. Another 3 months.
I think they need someone to fill the lineup.
Yeah.
I agree, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, I feel that they start off stronger earlier in the year and then tend to filter out a little bit towards the end. So if they have something really good, like Tony said, if Uncharted 4 is on the way, if they at E3 next year even tease another God of War, things like that, then yeah, they'll be on track. But I think it'll be a lot closer than what it is now.
What do you think a year from now?
I agree with Jason. I think that unless
Not with Tony.
Yeah.
Even though we said the same thing.
Even though we said the same thing. Yeah.
You disagree with me wholeheartedly.
I can't stand that guy. I think that I don't think that Sony's going to maintain their momentum. What it seems like, I think they could be steady, but I don't think they're going to. I don't think the numbers are going to like jump up any higher like per month. I think Microsoft will definitely get, if not caught up, very close.
I think PS4 this holiday will increase the lead a little bit.
Really?
My
Okay.
prediction.
Whoa.
The
11th man, huh?
Yes.
Well, I
The
mean,
momentum is too strong.
I mean, they have good momentum.
source-
They do, but it can only last so long without gains.
Well, the
I know.
scariest thing is Sony has more internal studios than anyone, and nobody besides the guys who made Little Big Planet and the guys who made Killzone have said anything. There's like 10, 12 studios. We have no idea what they're doing. Oh,
No,
and we
it's
know
possible.
we
No
know Naughty
Uncharted's
Dog's
coming.
making Uncharted.
But no, that's true. But there's one thing.
When they come, like they can be hitting like one every 2 or 3 months, a big AAA title.
There's something that big that could happen. There's that big Microsoft announcement possibly tomorrow. And if that
Tomorrow.
happens, quote unquote,
Yeah.
Because Jason will post this.
correct.
But anyway,
If
3 weeks
if
from
that
now.
It was
happens,
last week.
They could take
that
it.
big announcement.
Yeah.
That big announcement.
Which, I mean, he's referencing
Minecraft.
being
The sale of
yeah.
Mojang to Microsoft. If that actually happens, if that rumor comes to pass, that could get a lot of Xbox One sold. They could make that their bundle.
Anyway, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Pause Menu. And we will hopefully be back next week with another Pause Menu.